everybody. Welcome to day 21. So, on this day 21, I wanted to talk about when I turned 21. I thought it would be great to talk about this day. Turning 21 was just not all what it cracked up to be. And it's so funny because I remember it because out of the group of girls that I was with, my girl Danya and all of them, I was actually the younger one. So for a year, I stopped them. Like, well, they would go to clubs and I couldn't get in, because you would get carded and stuff like that. So it was crazy when I turned 21 and I couldn't wait to go to a club. I actually was one of those people that did not drink until I turned 21. And it was so funny because here it is, I'm 21, and it was horrible. We did not really have fun. Every drink I tried was nasty. And this was the first time I actually discovered that I was starting to have an issue with alcohol. As my first drink, believe it or not, my first drink was Jack Daniels and Coke. Yeah, go figure. um, I tried to drink wine coolers, and those were okay. And then I tried to drink mixed drinks. They were okay. I actually am a very, very big fan of vodka, like straight vodka. But unfortunately, I cannot drink. As most of you have seen on the show and so forth, I've shared with you. It's funny that I have a show called The Bar Podcast, and I cannot drink. So I want to share with you, like, I don't know if I actually made it clear as to why I cannot drink. So being 21, this is something that we look forward to, or most of us, if we have not done it prior to when we were supposed to. Um, I actually have this condition. You can actually look it up where, unfortunately, my liver is not able to break down the sugars associated with alcohol, and that's with all alcohol. So what happens is, if I decide to take a drink, unfortunately, I have a terrible reaction, and some reactions are worse than others, depending on the alcohol. I will get hives really bad. My throat will close up. Um, it was suggested to me at one point that I could try taking little bit of sips here and there every day to hopefully try to get my body immune to it. But in the long run, it just never worked. So I just chose to stay away from alcohol. And um, like once in a while, if you notice on the show, I'll take a chance and I'll drink a little bit, like very little, and even drinking that little like half of a shot in a drink, I still end up having some reaction. If you notice, one of the shows we did one time, I took a chance and my throat started to close up and feel funny. So I have to basically just stay away from alcohol. And when I went to go visit my boyfriend recently, I took a drink, and when I tell you, like, I instantly get drunk. Like, so it's not even like I gradually, my body just is not used to alcohol, and unfortunately I just can't do it. Like, I just can't do it. The good side to that is that as a 50-year-old woman, or in like, I'm 20 days, day 20 of 50, so I'm about 30 days away from turning 50. I was informed by my doctor that my liver is actually in excellent condition because of the fact that I'm not putting those toxins into my body, which also helps keep this youthful glow, and keep this youthful skin, and keep this youthful look. Is that, the toxins that you're putting in your body sometimes can make you look older. So, you might want to consider that going into 2019. Wine is been known to, especially the darker wines, have been known to be great for you. But, what if in 2019 you chill out on the drinking a little bit and maybe switch to something a little bit more subtle to try to give your body some detoxing on the alcohol. So I'm going to throw that out there to you on this 21st day of 50 days until I'm 50, is that I'm just asking you that if you are a person that drinks heavily, maybe try to start reconsidering what you're doing to your body moving into 2019. So another thing that happened when I was 21 is I purchased my first property. Hmm. If I would have known what I know today, I probably wouldn't have bought it. I had an opportunity when I was 21 I had saved up my little money. I was actually going to buy myself a BMW. Like, that's like my dream car, is like this BMW. That's the thing. I wanted a BMW. So at the time, my father approached me and said, "Hey, there's a duplex for sale. Would you consider, I'll give you the rest of the money and we could purchase this property." So I thought to myself, how cool would it be to be a property owner at 21? So I did just that. Instead of purchasing the new car, I purchased the property with my dad, and ended up owning the property for quite a few years. Had a tenant. It was a duplex, but it was actually a cool time for me, though. There were some great memories in that property. Being 21 and having your own place, it was the hangout spot, because a lot of us at 21, some weekends we didn't have a lot of money and you couldn't always go to the club. So most of my friends that were 22 and were just finding themselves still lived at home. So to be the one in the group that was 21 and had our own place, we always hung out there. So there was some great memories with my girl Danya, Lisa, and Tamika. We had amazing parties there. So 21 was a good year, but there was some sadness in 21 too, because it was like in the summertime it was amazing to be 21 and have friends and stuff around, but it was weird because when the winter came, I was very much alone in that year. It was like, no one wanted to come around, because nobody wanted to come out and stuff. So it took me some time to get used to being alone and being by myself at 21. It's you realize you have a responsibility for bills. I was able to actually participate in that year of actually remodeling the home with my dad. So that was a cool part of watching this. He said, "Look, if you want to move in here, you got to get this work done." So I remember spending time with him, laying floors down and learning how to do sheetrock, because my father was an amazing contractor and so forth. This house was gutted and built by him, and so there was some great daddy-daughter time there. And when I was 21, when it came down to men, it was just that, 21 and men. I remember, though, people may relate to this, like, the biggest part about being 21 and living on your own is being able to have someone spend the night. But what I discovered about myself at the age of 21 is I more enjoyed being alone than I did with having someone at the house. It was a time of discovery. It was a time of finding my direction and finding out who I was and what my position was in this world. It took some time, but what if I recognized my talents earlier on? 21 is a very difficult time. It is a difficult part in your life. You are really, in my opinion, getting into true adulthood at 21. You're legal to do a whole bunch of stuff that you weren't able to do when you were 20. Responsibilities grow. Different conversations are being had. You may have not talked about marriage before, but then you're talking about it now. But I'll tell you another thing that took place when I was 21. I made tons of assumptions. At 21, when you're partying and getting things going and having a good time, I made an assumption that here I am, 21, no worries. When I get 25, 26 years old, I'm sure I'll be married and on my way to having children. When I was 21, I was sure that by the age of 30, I would be making $100,000 a year in this great career and all this kind of stuff. I made tons of assumptions. And it is shame that you make these assumptions with no proof. And I've talked about that on earlier days when I said never assume without proof. And I often think to myself that if I would have known about the assumptions with don't make assumptions without proof. What if I would have been told that when I was 21? So at 21, if I was told that anything I assume from this day forward needs to have proof, I do think my life would have been different. I think I would have approached money different, health, wealth, and fitness different. I would have just went through life totally different, because everything that I was being faced with from the age of 21 on, I would have seeked out proof. When I was 21, like in my 20s, I remember like I was a bodybuilder. I had an amazing body at 21. Not saying I ain't got an amazing body now, it's getting there, but to be 50 and looking the way I look, I'm happy. There's some improvements that can be done, but you know, I'm finding out people that are 21 now look much older than I do. So I say to my females and males that if you're watching this and you are 21, I want you to make sure you go into your next 24 years never assuming without proof. I learned in my 50 years to take a chance, take a risk, and it's okay if it doesn't work out. You just keep on going. You're never too old to do anything. So when I turned 21, I was a little punk, but I learned in turning 50, I'm not no punk no more. And that's all about growth. I'm glad that I've seen the progression of growth in my 24 years. Would I want to be 21 again? Nope. Not at all. I'm happy to be 29 days from turning 50. It's amazing to be alive and well. But what if when I was 21, I got a different piece of advice? What if when I was 21, I had a cool old head that was there just telling me because they were 50 when I was 21? You know, take care of yourself. Be more vigilant in the things that which you want to do to make your mark in this world. But it's never too late. And I learned a lot at being 49, or my last few days of being in my 40s. At first I got a little sad because I kind of felt that, you know, this time just goes so fast, and you know, you don't know what the next couple years hold out for you. But one thing I know is that from 21 to 49, I obviously have a purpose because I'm still here. Sickness and all, you know, I struggle sometimes with my thyroid disease, and you know, I struggle sometimes with the lethargic and not being able to get my thoughts together and different things like that. But it's okay because I will get through it. It's just part of life. You know, the body will start to reject certain things in your life. And that's what I think, if I could tell my 21-year-old self, is definitely be vigilant about your health and wellness. I mean, I'm, you know, there's a reason why God has removed my ability to drink. I have to believe that. Like, you know, I don't know if it would have damaged me in some other way. I don't know. But I have to believe that the reason, and I say this to everyone, that, you know, if you're experiencing certain things, you have to look beyond and say that there's obviously a reason why this is happening. You know, if your goal in 2019 is to lose weight, think about your 21-year-old self and say, you know, when I was 21, I wish I would have done this. And then now push it forward and say, okay, well, I didn't do that at 21, but I can do it now. Take care of yourself. I think that's the biggest thing I would have liked to give a piece of advice to my 21-year-old self, is to say, yeah, I wish I would have done something else. You know, but hey, life is supposed to go the way it was. 21, while that night I turned 21 was not the best, and I'm sure my girls Lisa, Tamika, and Danya are going to remember that night very well. The weather was horrible. We really had a hard time finding a nightclub that we were having fun. We decided to actually go somewhere that we had never went before, and it was a flop. But hey, I was with my girls, and we still tried to have a little bit of fun. It took years for me to even find an alcoholic drink that I liked, and then lo and behold, I couldn't drink it at all. So, You know, that's the good part of growing old, when you have great memories. So I say to my 21-year-olds, this is a different time for you. It was different for us back then. You are faced with a lot now. Be vigilant in making the right decisions and go forward in your next 20 years, never assuming anything without any proof. All right, everybody, on to day 22. Day 22 is going to be really interesting, so make sure you check it out tomorrow. All right, you guys. Thank you.